That's now recording and we're live. So we're actually recording. Good job.
Yay!
We've started. We're doing the thing. Yay.
Okay, it's a successful day. Let's move along.
And
good job.
scene. Thank you. All
Thanks
done.
for coming.
Thanks for
Cheers.
coming.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
It's fantastic. Hi, welcome to A Spirited Life. I'm Mark.
And I'm Christine.
And this week we're going to be talking about starting with why and being intentional.
We're going to highlight our whiskey of the week and what filled our spirit this week.
So this week we're going to be talking about starting with why and being intentional. And that actually ties directly in with our whiskey of the week. We are often intentional about the whiskey that we start with when we're sipping whiskey, and we're going to be enjoying whiskey because we want to open up our palates and get things going a little bit without overstimulating. And so Buffalo Trace is a great whiskey to do that. It's a 90 proof, non-age dated, but typically estimated to be somewhere between 6 to 8 years old. Very approachable in terms of overall nose, overall palate, and a lot of good flavors actually for a 90 proof bourbon.
Yeah, for me, it's a great starter whiskey to open up my mouth, get my palates, get my little taste buds tingling. The flavors that I get are pretty much like a toffee, an oak, and a spice, and it's just enough to be like, ooh, that's really nice. Kind of like when you just want to be like, ooh, I'm just gonna start that.
Yeah, there is a nice little bit of spiciness on the nose that you can get, and even some of those notes of like caramel and vanilla.
I get a little apple toffee.
Yeah, could be a little bit of apple toffee, which is pretty nice. So that's what we're going to be sipping on today. Today we're going to start by talking about starting with your why, and we're going to talk about working with purpose and working with intention. And really, what this boils down to is we want to be intentional in what we're doing versus just kind of drifting through things. We want to make sure that we're working with a purpose. We're working with that intention. And by taking intention, we have a much better chance of actually getting to where we want to go based on what we're trying to accomplish, whether that is a life goal or a financial goal or a health goal, right?
Yeah, for me, intention really provides like kind of guards in helping me along my path. Kind of like when you think about bumper bowling. The bumpers provide the guards, which increases the chance that you're going to get a better score than just winging it and going every which way.
So a lot of programs will have you start with your purpose and start with why. And that makes a lot of sense. They want you to go with purpose, go with intention. And so what we decided to do was take a few minutes and think about what our purpose was in terms of what we're trying to accomplish. And as I thought about it, and I wrote down, one of the things I wanted to do, what my why was with all of this is a balance between financial independence and living today. And for me, it's wanting that financial independence, but I don't want to wait for retirement or financial independence to live my life and do things. So for you, when you thought about it, what was your why?
My why for going down this journey and financial independence is really to provide security in who knows what, being able to be financially independent. You don't have to worry about where your next paycheck's coming from. And then also give myself a sense of control. I could control whether I go work 80 hours at this job to make this money, or I could control whether, okay, I have enough to live a comfortable life, do some things around the house, go on a vacation, still work, but not one aspect of my life is controlled by another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense, is looking for that freedom and looking for options and choices, right? As opposed to necessarily feeling like, oh, I have to go do this. Oh, I have to go work these 80 hours a week. And essentially what we're doing by investing in financial independence is we're investing in that freedom. We're investing in that option.
And even the option of choices for financial independence for us is the control or the choice that we don't have to cut everything else out of life to save up all this money. So when we're 80 years old, we're living great financially, but we can't do much because when you're 80, there's just some things you just can't do anymore. So It's really developing the control over how you want to live your life, what your guidelines are to make yourself happy, fill your spirit, and then how you're going to accomplish that.
Yeah. And really what it boils down to for me is I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait to live my life, like you said, until I'm 70 or 80 years old. I may still be in good health then, but there's lots of things that want to do along the way. I want to have some fun along the way. I want to have a good time along the way. Because a lot of people say this and it's kind of cliche, but it is also true. Tomorrow's not promised.
We only have one go at this. And again, the tomorrow's not promised. You don't want to look back and be like, oh, I have $1 trillion, but I have no stories. I've sold my spirit. I've sold my soul to make all this money and save all this money that I don't feel like I lived a solid life.
Yeah. And so if we're working towards financial independence and trying to live our life along the way, why do all of this? Why do this? A spirited life. And so for me, when I thought about that, I was thinking about that it helps to keep me accountable. It is a way for me to share our journey and our process in going through this. And it's a way to encourage people through our story here. And if we can share our journey and how we're working through this, that might encourage other people to feel comfortable in taking the leap and maybe even come along with us on some of these things.
Yeah, I agree. I think starting with us, we're not financial people. We have no degrees. We have no money market. Like, we're just basic Midwest people.
Yeah.
So I think starting with that makes it very approachable to build a community, or even look at scrolling along and seeing this couple that's doing this and going, oh, okay, they're just average people.
Mm-hmm.
If they could put their toe in it and do it, hey, why not? And then this is also is great in helping keeping me accountable. When I have to answer to something on a weekly basis, it helps me be more intentional, and it gives me a time to reflect upon, choices in the past, habits that I've developed, things I'd like to change, and really help set those guidelines or those bumpers to help me continue on my journey.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to us continuing forward with this, helping to keep us accountable, helping to share a story, and ultimately helping us get to where we want to get to intentionally that way, by being able to get to financial independence and have some fun along the way and share those things with you and share the journey with you guys.
Okay, so now that leads us to our last thing, which is what filled our spirit this week. For me, one of the main things that filled my spirit was seeing this amazing blue sky and this bright yellow ball of fire in the sky. Where we live, mid-December, that's not a normal occurrence. So that was the first thing that really just made this week even better.
Yeah. And for me, it was much the same. I got an opportunity last Friday to go out and walk with Amos, our dog. And the weather was amazing for this time of year. It was in the mid 50s and the sun was shining and the warm wind was blowing, and it was nice just to get out there and get, a couple miles underneath our feet and enjoy a little bit of warm weather before it potentially gets cold and snowy.
Another thing that's filled my spirit was going out for Single Barrel Saturday.
Yeah, it was a good time.
I was not looking forward to it to begin with, but we got up, we got moving, we got out, we stood in line, which was nice. It was a rather short line. And then in true Midwest fashion, everyone in line started talking to each other and just hanging out. And I think hanging out with you, going from store to store, seeing what we could find, then knowing I could bring some of that back home and then share it with some of my friends that I've made along the way in my whiskey journey, and then stopping to get my allocated birdseed for my bird feeders, and really just having just a fun, chill day going out and hanging out together.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We went out a little bit later than we expected, but we ended up getting a little lucky in terms of the number of people who were at the location that we went to. And so we were still pretty early in the line, and we're able to get some pretty nice things. So you can check out our other video where that outlines everything that we got.
All right. Well, that's all we have for today's episode. What do we have coming up for next episode?
Yeah. So for next week, we're going to be looking at all the things that we're doing to close out 2023, the different things that we're doing from a financial perspective and from a goals perspective, to make sure that we're rounding things out, closing things out, and then also getting ready for 2024 so we can hit the ground running. Join us next time, and we'll see you then.